Hello and welcome back to another episode of Your Drone Questions Answered. I'm John Dickow with the Drone Launch Academy, here to find the answers to your drone questions. These are questions that you, as our audience, submit. So today's question, it's a good one. It's related to some of the other questions we've gotten recently. It's when starting your own business, how do you initially go about finding clients? How do you get started in finding that first batch of clients? Today I have Gavin Dillon. Gavin is the owner, chief pilot at Gulf Delta Aerial Services. Gavin, thanks for joining me today.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here.
Before we get into this question, I want to give you an opportunity to just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your business, the work you do in drones, and maybe a little bit how you got started.
I am a pilot as well as a commercial drone pilot, a manned aircraft pilot, and I started flight school in 2021. The fall of 2021, I got my pilot's license in the spring or May of 2022. And my instructor told me, he said, "Hey, you should get into this flying drone thing." He's like, "With your private pilot license, you can get your Part 107 because you've already taken the written test of the Part 61." And it's all, basically the exact same thing, which is weather, basic base things like that. I filled out the information online when I got my pilot's license. I got my drone license. I bought my first commercial grade drone in the July of 2022, and I started just figuring out the drone industry. I knew absolutely nothing about the drone industry. I just, other than my experience with flying RC drones, helicopters, airplanes, just as a hobby grade
Mhm.
level instead of commercial grade. I knew nothing about the business side, and I started just kind of looking in how other people was doing it, just trying to figure it out on my own. I found a company that needed a drone pilot in Central Arkansas, where I was located, that needed a mapping, and so my very first job was a mapping of a Napa Auto Parts as a subcontractor.
Very cool. Well, and so how did you said you found them? How did you find them, or did they find you?
So there was actually two jobs. One with, I believe it was like an Orson Farm and Home or something like that. And the Napa, they actually reached out to me once I created a Google profile just with my business name. I barely had a logo. It was just a drone with the words Gulf Delta Aerial Services on it. Not much of a logo at all. And somehow they picked me above everybody else here. Since the past few years, a few more drone pilots have come up, but I just had a little bit of a Google profile presence, and they called me. And then the other profile, or the other job, there was a website. They're out of business now, but you could sign up as a subcontractor for a construction company. I don't know if it was Google. I'm not really sure how I found them. I believe I just Googled, and I signed up for their subcontractor list, and they reached out to me and through that subcontractor list.
Tells you the power of Google. I mean,
Mhm.
wow, it's just a minimal presence, but you were found, and I'm sure it had something to do as well with maybe the services that are available in your area. What area are you in?
I'm located in Central Arkansas, so I service Little Rock, North Little Rock, Sherwood, Jacksonville, Cabot, and travel towards Hot Springs area, Conway.
Awesome. And now I'm very curious what happened after you got your first job, but I do want to ask you just when it comes to your business, that first gig was a mapping role, but you do other things now as well in your business, right?
I do. So I might get ahead of myself here, but or get
Sure.
ahead of the questions. But the very first thing when starting a business is finding a niche of what you want to do and what you're good at.
Mhm.
Something that I found out very quickly I was not good at was videos. I've struggled very, very hard, and I gave up instantly because I didn't want to focus all of my time and resources on things I wasn't good at and couldn't supply good content. And so I stuck with the mapping. So I started my business on mapping and modeling. And then I had a few people reach out, returning customers reach out, and I was doing pictures with real estate, whether it be raw land or just commercial buildings. That was where I really started stepping into the photo realm. And so I got very confident in, because that's one thing, you got to be very confident in your work in order to gain more clients. And I got very confident in my photos. And as far as real estate, commercial, whether, commercial real estate, residential real estate, I started doing that. And that's where I've kind of pushed my business towards the mapping and modeling. I will still do that. If a client reached out to me and asked me for a map or model, I'll go ahead and do that. But I've drifted towards the real estate, whether I anything that has to do with real estate, photo. And now over the years, I've perfected my videos. I've gotten good softwares. I've learned my settings, and now I've got ground cameras, action cameras, microphones, lighting, everything. So I can produce a film, whether it be, talking head videos and then incorporate it with drone footage, like everything all in one. Also, I just, beginning of this year, I stepped into the FPV fly through realm. So
Oh,
either
wow.
flying through buildings, which is what I have tied into the commercial real estate, flying through buildings and things like that.
Awesome. I gotta tell you, that's a lot of growth in just the couple of years that you've
Mhm.
been running as a business. So congratulations on. Let's talk more about how you found those clients. And so you had a minimal Google presence and they found you, which was great. So you got that first job. And so after that, I mean, that had to feel really good having that first customer. How did you grow from there?
So once I realized that the Google profile actually worked, I just took everything that I had taken, pictures, videos, previous work, and I just started posting it on my Google profile. And I will be the first to admit I need to beef it up a little bit more than what it is right now. That's something, I steadily work on. But once I realized that I'll just put into realm of social media, that social media presence actually works, it kind of gave me that confidence boost to do it again and make it better. And so that's when I opened up my Instagram and my Facebook as well. I started posting almost every single job. And then I would just, some afternoons, if I had free time, I would go out to downtown Little Rock, shoot a couple videos, or whether it be of the bridge, flag, the buildings. There's some really cool, just old churches that kind of got some good, vibe to it when you're filming it. And whether it be picture or video, I just kind of post. And I had a company reach out to me. It was actually a construction company for the Top Golfs that come in here to Little Rock. And he said, "Hey, I've seen your Google profile." And he's like, "We would love for you to work for us as a subcontractor." And I said, like, well, let's discuss some details and we'll get the job done. I think it was a 13-month contract. I've had several real estate jobs from my Google profile that have turned into 24 months contracts.
That is awesome. And you got you obviously have your website up and running, and I'm sure
Mhm.
there's interconnectivity between your website, your Google presence, and your social channels as well.
Yes, sir. One thing I've learned is on my website, I have a portfolio page and each image is labeled with a reference number. What I have found, and this is just kind of a little trick, every image has its own reference number. And at the top, I have the sentence, if you find an image, that catches your eye and you would like to recreate that image, here's my contact information and give me a list of reference numbers that you would like for me to recreate. And if you would, want to add to the package, take away, however to build that custom package. I have found that to be very helpful for real estate clients because
Mhm,
some people, whether we like to admit it or not, some people are very picky and some people are hard to work with. But if you
mhm.
give them exactly what they want, then they know what they're expecting. It makes the delivery process a lot easier and then you get your payment, immediately following because they're happy and they know what they're getting because they've already seen that reference.
Awesome tip. Making it easy for the client, and
Mhm.
I can imagine how important that is, and retaining a client as well. I'm scrolling through your website, I can see exactly what you're talking about. That is a great idea. How quickly were you able to get this website up and running from starting your business?
I did my first job in August of 2022. By January of 23, I had somewhat of a website. It's not what it is today. I steadily upgrade, just make it better over the time. By January of 23, I launched my website, my social medias, and I had my LLC registered for the state of Arkansas, all in that initial. So that was my 2023 goal, was to have an LLC, business banking accounts, all my
Wow.
social medias, Google profiles, website, everything up and running. And when I launched that, my business just took off. It didn't seem like it was beneficial, but just
Mhm.
having that presence, it really gives your clients a boost of confidence to work with you.
Would you say that the majority of your clients find you through your online presence?
Yes,
Okay.
it would be about 95% of all of my clients and almost 100% of my recurring and returning clients
Mhm.
um, are from my online presence, whether it be social media ads or my Google listing, just from simple Google searches.
Well, that's great, and I've been kind of excited to get to this final question from our discussion. We were talking a little bit before we started this recording, and you're young, you're 20 years old, and that passion has clearly been there since high school for you, right? And so you're very passionate about this kind of field, and I was wondering if you had advice for the Drone Launch Academy community.
Yes, the number one thing, and I've already mentioned it, is finding what you're good at and your little niche. If you go in, I know it's been talked about on Drone Launch Academy before, other podcasts. A lot of people talk about it, but it's very important. Do not try to do everything at once. Now that I have mastered the real estate market, I will do inspections. I will do mapping because I have 4 drones now. Whereas when I first started, I had 1 drone and tried to do everything. But when I roll out to a place now, I have 4 drones and 4 different sets of batteries, and I can adjust accordingly to if I need to do an inspection job, mapping job, and a photography job all in one day. I have a drone for all of that. It's very important to find what you're good at, try out mapping. If you're good at it, try to stick with it. It might change over time, but once you find something that's making you money, especially in your area, because I have pilots in Missouri I've helped get started, Mississippi, Texas, all over that I've helped get started. And I told them my story. I would make YouTube videos for them and send them my YouTube videos and say, hey, watch these, get your business started, based off of this. I'll just, call me. And their market is totally different than my market here in Central Arkansas. And
Sure.
so finding what is beneficial, what is needed, the problem that needs to be fixed in your area, and that niche of what you're good at is the very first thing. And also, a lot of people think that when you start your business, you're going to go from no clients to 500 clients in the first 2 months. It does not work that way. I am a little bit over about 2.5, almost 3 years into my business. I have gotten very blessed to take off the way it did. But at
Hmm.
the same time, I look at other people and I'm like, I'm way behind. But then I also realize they're 10 years in and I'm only 3. And so
Yeah.
that's not getting ahead of yourself and trying to do everything at once is the best tip I can give anybody starting the drone industry. And it's okay to work as a subcontractor to get started because you have to have that first client to get that portfolio. And sometimes occasionally you have to work for free to get that portfolio built up. I'm blessed to not have to work for free. There's sometimes it felt like I was working for free, but
Sure.
I worked for people to start out where as a subcontractor before I started gaining my own client. Because when you start launching ads and things like that, it definitely you start gaining that
Yep.
organic clients. But that is the best tip I can give anybody is not to get ahead of yourself.
Hmm.
Focus in and master, whether it be photography, mapping, videos. If you already have ground cameras and you're already good at videos, that's the realm I would go into is,
Hmm.
the videography advertisement realm. I do a
Yeah.
lot of advertisement marketing for people with my photos and videos. And so that's the best tip I can give for
I
someone
love
else
it.
who wants to start.
I absolutely love it, and both sides. I mean, you really gave 2 really good tips there. I mean, the finding your niche thing, yeah, we've heard that before, but that means something coming from you. You found your niche, but then you grew. You were able to anchor down with some success, which bought you some ability to grow from there. Really cool to hear that. And then, not the part you said about not, getting ahead of yourself. You've done very well and you know that. But the idea is that you can still kind of look around and know that it's not the case all the time for everyone, even in your own situation and stuff. And so you got your head on straight. And so that's cool. Gavin, I just want to say before, wrapping up, congratulations on what you've accomplished in these just a few years with your business. I wish you just the very best, and I hope that business continues to grow and you continue to grow. If you want to check out some of Gavin's work, you want to see what he, a visual of what he would mention about his website when it comes to references for clients, go check out his website. It's fly.golf.deltaaerialservice.com. Check out the website. It's a really good example of a solid website. Gavin, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And hey, if you have a drone question, please, we would love to get it. We'd love to find the answer for you. If you're a part of the Drone Launch Connect community, go ahead and type your question in there. People are asking questions every day, and most people are getting their questions answered before I can even get to them. Or if you're not a part of the Drone Launch Connect community, go into ydqa.io, type in your question there. We will see it and we will find somebody who can answer it. Until then, we'll see you in the sky.